When starting your agency, one of the most difficult things is actually choosing the right way to do your client acquisition. And of course, with that, the main thing that we need to really be thinking about is the outreach. Whether you should be doing cold email, cold calling, social media, and then on social media, do you do Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, etc. Like there's so many different ways to reach people that it confuses a lot of people sometimes where they're like, which one should I be using? What's the best strategy for me to use? So I'm going to cover that in this video. If you don't know who I am, my name is Reece. I grew my first agency to multiple six figures working in the e-commerce space. And now I help other agencies master their client acquisition so they can also scale their agencies. And one of the main things that I help people with is actually giving them the client acquisition systems that they should be using to get more qualified meetings for their agency. And with that, I get this question a lot where people say, well, Reece, what system should I use? You know, even when people work with me, I've got a bunch of proven systems that I give them. And obviously one of the first conversations that we have is which of those systems they should be using. So I'm gonna make this really simple for you today. It's gonna be a short video because it really comes down to the simple question of where is your audience? And obviously, in order to come up with that, you need to have a niche. And more than just a niche, you need to have an ICP. If you don't know what the ICP is, it's an ideal customer profile. Essentially what we're doing is we're looking at the niche itself. Let's say, for example, dental practices. And what you're gonna do is have a look what specifically category of the dental practices do you wanna work with? Where are they located geographically? What kind of level are they at with their business? Different things like this, you know? And then by doing that, you're going to be able to see what is the best way to reach people. So with dentists, with healthcare in general, and with any niche actually, let me take a step back. With any niche, you ideally, when you're picking a niche, you wanna pick a niche that's easy to kind of reach the decision makers, right? So dentistry, quite difficult. Healthcare in general can be quite difficult, especially if you're using things like cold calling, because imagine if you're cold calling a healthcare service provider, most of the time you're going to be speaking to a gatekeeper because the decision maker is actually working on people's teeth or on their bodies or whatever that may be. So a lot of the times with that, it's actually very difficult to actually reach the decision makers when it comes to cold calling, because you just run into the gatekeepers all the time, and the gatekeepers, you say, hey, can I speak to John? And they say, well, no, John's doing a procedure right now. So it's just generally not very accessible. Whereas with niches such as real estate, home improvement, construction in general, things like this, a little bit more easier to actually reach the decision makers by phone, because a lot of them have their phone numbers online so they can have their own prospects contact them. So the question comes down to, where is your audience based? Are they more, people that use their phones and, you can find their numbers online pretty easily? Are they more people that use email? Are they more people that use social media? And then you've got to find out which of those they are more common on. The easiest way to do this is just to get more research done on your niche and get to know who they are a little bit better. And when you're drawing out an ICP, an ideal customer profile, you want to create like an avatar of the people that you're serving. I know that a lot of my audience is on YouTube. Some of them are on Facebook, others are on Instagram, and also LinkedIn as well. So they're kind of like a bunch of platforms, but mostly social media. I can access phone numbers online, I can access email addresses online, and we can use those as well. So I'm in a good niche for that. Agencies, by the way, I'm talking about, when I help agencies here. With e-com, primarily we did a lot of email and a little bit of social media as well. Instagram and LinkedIn is what worked for us. But depending on where your audience is, you want to use that platform. And in terms of how to reach them, you can think about that once you've got the platform, because with the platform, there are different nuances, different ways that you want to approach people based on the platform that you're using. So to make this really, really simple for you and just make this, give you the answer today in this video, ask yourself, where is your audience? Okay, so let's start with the easy one, which is what systems to use. And for me, to keep this pretty easy, if they're online-based businesses, we use generally cold email and social media. If they're a local-based business, then we'll generally use cold calling and social media. So we're always doing some form of social media so you can build a personal brand and build a brand around who you are. And also just, a lot of people are on social media. A lot of different businesses are on social media. It depends on what kind of business they are to what platform they're on. If it's more professional services, you'll probably find them on LinkedIn. If they're more creative businesses where they've got a lot of creatives to use, like fashion brands, e-commerce in general, realtors, post a lot on like Facebook and social platforms so they can display the properties that they've got. Construction, home improvement, they're active a lot on social media, generally Instagram, sometimes Facebook as well. So again, there are different nuances depending on what your niches are. And obviously I have to make this pretty general because I don't know who's going to be watching this video. So if you've got a specific niche and you want to know what I would recommend, then just comment down below what your niche is and I can respond and give you a more specific personalized response. But generally speaking, you want to look at the local, if they're local based, cold calling and social media. Again, there are caveats to that because healthcare, I wouldn't want to reach them via cold calling because I know that they're very difficult to reach the decision makers via cold calling. So you want to consider where is your audience and also what is the best way to reach them, which sometimes isn't always the same answer. Sometimes that's a little bit different. So that's the main thing, okay? That's the main thing that pretty much answers the question right off the bat. And when it comes to picking the social media, then you're also just looking, well, which platform are they on the most? As I said before, professional on LinkedIn, more creative on Instagram. And then Facebook's a weird one. A lot of people seem to have a Facebook, but whether or not they're active on it, that's a whole different story altogether. So yeah, pretty short answer to the question. Hopefully that cleared it up. Again, if you've got something specific, pop it down below in the comments and I can answer that specifically for you. But if you are an agency owner that's looking for a more consistent and predictable flow of quality meetings and clients coming in for your agency, click the link down below. It tells you a little bit more about how I help agencies in my one-on-one program and how I could potentially help you grow your agency. If you want to get that info, click the link. If not, it's totally fine. Click the subscribe button instead. Stay subscribed, watch more of these videos. They're designed to help you ultimately grow your agency by doing things like this, talking about client acquisition, picking the right channels to use, finding the right ways to do it. And if you have a look at some of my other videos, I break down the different systems that we use step by step, so you can use those there for yourself as well, okay? So again, if you've got a specific niche that you want me to answer, comment down below and I'll see you again in the next video.